Everyone, my name is Tim Stoddart, and in this week's video, I am going to give you the exact business breakdown of a business model that I would start right now if I were starting all over. So if I was at the very beginning, this is the exact business that I would start and exactly how I would structure it so that the online marketing generates revenue and generates customers and clients for you. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. I'm pumped about this one. This is going to be great. So here we are, my longtime followers, especially people that have been following me on YouTube. You know how much I love directories, and I have mentioned this site many, many times. It's called yourboulder.com. I love this model because, for reasons which I've explained in the past, I think that local, hyper-local media is very, very valuable. It's very useful. Newspapers have basically disappeared, but there's still just a huge demand for news, current events, and events that are happening in local communities. Any one of these websites and newsletters that starts up, they always do well. So I really, really believe in this model. With that being said, I've also explained a lot as to why Your Boulder was a huge failure for me. I've never really dove into the story about what happened, why it got off to such a good start, and why it was such a colossal crash and burn. And so in this video, you will see the crash and burn, and you will also see how close I was to developing this like really brilliant business model that I think you should take and you should just run with this idea. So this is the current version of Your Boulder. You can see here yourboulder.com. However, this is actually the site that destroyed everything. This right here, this simple, plain, pretty boring version of the website was really when it was successful. So this theme, Magazine Pro, I love this theme. It looks really good on mobile, and it just works very well for the actual directory that I put on it. In addition, since this theme is on StudioPress and it's built with the Genesis framework, it just is really, really good for SEO. I'm not a super high level coding expert in terms of like what makes the code and the Genesis framework better than some other frameworks. All I know is that anytime I would build a site on the magazine theme, the SEO would always do really, really well. Okay. On this theme, you also have the business directory. Look at how freaking boring and ugly this business directory was. All I did is create a local business directory. I took the categories directly from Google. So the same categories that Google uses in Google My Business. I expanded upon them, obviously, as I added more and more businesses. And I would have the parent category and then the child categories. And so like this art gallery, I don't know what it is. Well, I'll click on it. I'm on Wayback Machine, by the way. And this is what the listings looked like. So this one right here, this Art Parts Creative Reuse Center was in this art gallery category, and it was also in just the main parent category. So it's also in this art and hobbies category. I love the business directory plugin. You could add listings. People could sign up for listings themselves. There's like a whole sales process. I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay. So what happened? This website, which looks pretty rudimentary and fundamental, and this website, which looks beautiful, it was like beautifully structured. It's all customized. It looks really, really high level. Well, look at what happened. Oh God, every time I look at this, it just hurts my soul. Um, it took me about a year to continuously add all of these different businesses, these local businesses, and these business listings. And in time, as I got a couple of hundred of these in, my SEO was just absolutely crushing it. I bought the site right around here. Okay. And then at the very, very peak of my organic traffic, I was getting 20,000 hits a month. I decided it was a good idea to rebuild the website and redesign the website. And in doing so, I changed a lot of the URL structure. So, you'll see in here, yourboulder.com/business directory. Just ignore all the stuff in front of this because it's on Wayback Machine. And this one might still say business directory. Yeah, but if I were to click into these, you see business directory, industry, dance school, as opposed to something like this. The slugs are different. So every single listing had to be redirected. from something like this to something like this. And when I rebuilt the website, I just absolutely destroyed it. I just completely destroyed it. And it breaks my heart. But here is why it was so successful. Because, and I've advocated this before in other videos, the directory itself would monetize. For instance, there's an upgrade here. So if you are this actual wedding dance coach, you could claim this listing. And if you wanted to, you could create an account. And if that person were to create an account, then they would get to a sales page and they could claim this listing for $100, and then they would get full access to their own listing. So they could do whatever they wanted to it. They could add pictures, add a map, put like a lead form on there. And it was great. I was selling featured listings. So the directory itself, I think on its peak was making like $3,000 a month, right? Nothing crazy. But what I did is I had a link on the navigation bar. And I also had a link in this banner. So this banner was at the top of the site. And I also had a link in the sidebar that promoted what I called Boulder Growth Engine. So again, this is on Wayback Machine. I couldn't find the finalized version of this site, but more or less, this was just a one pager that presented itself as an agency that would work specifically with small and local businesses in Boulder, Colorado. This is like this model that I don't understand why more people don't do this. If you have an agency and you have an agency that specializes in a specific industry, that's great. If for this example, let's just say that you specialize in small businesses in a certain town, in a certain city. You could even do it for different industries. Maybe you specialize in working with dentists, right? So you have the directory because the directory monetizes itself, but the directory also is a lead gen source for your agency. Because as soon as a business signs up for your directory to create a listing, they've basically just qualified themselves as a lead. They wouldn't have paid for the listing if they weren't interested in leads. So every time one of those listings would sign up, I would then contact them and say, hey, by the way, I'm also the owner of Boulder Growth Engine, right? We work specifically with small businesses in your area. Let me manage your Google My Business account. I'll get you more reviews. I'll get you #1 in Google for, best hairdresser in Boulder. It'll cost you $1,000 a month. This model got off to such a great start. I had like three clients or so. I wasn't all in on it because it was difficult for me to take time away from Stodzy, and I know I've like mentioned that before, but it was working. It like was a proof of concept, and I was starting to build this out with my offshore team, and it was working really well. And then I made the stupid mistake of trying to be fancy and trying to think that I was cooler than I really am. And I rebuilt the website and I just completely plummeted the traffic. I mean, look at this, like 700 hits a month right now or so. Um, the other thing is in this 20,000, when I was at 20,000 hits a month, there was also a pop-up that basically said exactly this. It said, never miss a thing in Boulder. And that was an email sign up that you would get the weekly newsletter. In the weekly newsletter, I would also promote the businesses that signed up for the Boulder Growth Engine network. And the newsletter itself, in the automation, it would sell the featured listing. So you would sign up for it, sign up for the newsletter, say like, welcome, you're going to get a newsletter every week. Here's what you can expect. Oh, by the way, are you a small business? You can sign up right here for a listing. It's $100 for the year. I wasn't too concerned about making money from the listing. I was just concerned about getting listings so that I can get leads. And then lastly, it's also very great because every single time you write an article or you create a blog post, this theme has right here, it's called the after entry widget, and you can just easily create an email sign up form, which would again collect more emails, which is sell more listings, which would generate more clients. If I were starting from zero and I built this, I think it would probably take 2 months to get the directory going, to get the newsletter set up, to get to a place where like you feel like you have a real reputable machine. Um, get the landing page. I really recommend if you're going to build the agency, put the agency on a different landing page with a different URL. It just presents it differently as far as branding, and you can pitch it differently in terms of like you're not signing up for a directory, you're signing up for the small business network and add a bunch of perks there. You can, within 12 months, let's say you get one deal every month and you're charging $1,000 a month. That's like super reasonable for a small business. especially because if you're doing $1,000 a month for Google My Business, that Google My Business is just so freaking effective that whatever your customer is, they are going to see results from your work as long as you know what you're doing. So you get one deal, $1,000 a month, right? Let's say you churn 2 deals over the year. So that's 10 clients for $1,000 a month. You're doing $100,000 in revenue, high margin revenue from the agency alone. Okay, and then let's say you put the directory on top of it. Well, that's probably another, depending on how hard you go with it. I didn't go very hard because, like I said, I sort of used the directory as like this hybrid marketing tactic. And the directory was at like 3,000 a month, right? So by the end of that year, you're at 10,000 a month in service revenue. You're at 3,000 a month from directory revenue. That 3,000 a month is all profit. So you're just putting that in your pocket. The 10,000 a month will be, 40% margin. So within year one, you've made 60, and then what? 3 times 10 is 30. So you've made $80,000 cash. That's pre-tax, obviously, but that's great. Do that for another year or two. It is so reasonable for people to use this model and be at 20 to 25 customers, around $1,000 a month, some more, some less, maybe one employee. You're going to hire a virtual assistant and you personally be doing 250,000 in revenue a year and be pocketing 140,000 a year. Like that is such a good life. That is such a great business model, low stress, high margin, highly reputable. And what's the coolest thing about this, which I'm saving this for the very end, I really hope you watch the whole video, is the brand always ratchets itself up, because the bigger your directory gets, the more people want to sign up for your directory, which means your directory gets bigger, which means more people want to sign up for it, right? So this is one of the reasons why I love directories, because the thing just ratchets up. Like the bigger it gets, the bigger it gets, which means more clients, more listings, more opportunities, more cross promotion events, and then the world's your oyster. You can just turn your directory into a legit like media company and sell sponsorships on your newsletter and do all types of shit, right? Um, whew, I want somebody to do this so badly. Like this took off from me. I'm not pitching it as some like esoteric idea. This really took off for me. I know it works. You want to use the magazine theme. You want to install the business directory plugin. There's a whole lot of modules and upgrades. So like this thing is going to cost you probably, I think it's like $200 a month if you get all the different upgrades. But it works. It works. If you're looking for some direction, you're looking for a new exciting project in your life, you want to start your own business, do this. You have the media on one side, you have the services on the other side. They both feed into each other as like some self-fulfilling marketing funnel, and then the whole thing will scale with itself. It can be a one-man show with one employee and you can make a ton of fucking money, right? Go do it. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate you. Please leave a comment. Please smash that subscribe button, and I will talk to you next week. Peace.